Hi guys, welcome to the next lecture in the series of machine learning development life cycle. In this lecture, we'll be working on creating a web application using Flask to present our machine learning model. So let's jump into the Google Colab. This is the dummy project which I created, and it's all dummy data. And you can find, I'll share you the dummy data, okay, as well as this Google Colab on my GitHub. So I'll just skim through all the information so that you can understand what really is happening in this project. But the end result is this is what we are going to do. It's a Flask application, and if you check on here, right click, and if I run this application, and it's a web app. So if I click on this localhost, so you can see it's a local host, and you get this web application, and then you can add a house area. So let's take, I'll put 4,500 square feet, and number of bedrooms are 4, and the age, it's recently constructed, so I'll say put 5 years. And if I click on predict, it will give me the predicted value of 803,092 pence. Okay, we can round it out, we don't need it, we can convert into integer and all what other thing you wanted. Okay, so this is what you can do. Let's take, if I click on let's take, I'll put 3,200 is the area, and number of bedrooms are just 2, and house of area is like 30 years, and if I predict it, it's around 52,900. It's, once again, it's a dummy data, so don't take this predictions as damn serious. It's the concept is to understand the whole workflow. So I'll just close this one, and so first I'll go through this project, and basically for you to work on this project, you don't need all these things, you just need a pickle file. But I'll go through a couple of information which I have added in this project. We need 4 libraries, which is NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib. Oh, we don't need Matplotlib, sorry. So because we are not going into like visualization and all sorts of stuff, it's a basic stuff. So we are going for NumPy because of for numerical things, and Pandas for reading the data and working on the data, and sklearn because this is a regression model because of the continuous number. That's why we are going for a linear regression, and logistic regression if it's true or false or what are the things, like a classification model. This is a regression model, and I connect it to the drive and read the data, and I'll make this data available for you guys. It's once again a dummy data using head and a shape, and this is the data. Say if it's just a 12 rows and 4 columns. If you see here, it's a bedrooms, age and price, and info. If you see here, it clearly, here you can see it's a nan file. That means there's no information, or it's an empty row in this column, and you can find, you can use is null to find out if there is anything, is it null, but generally this is not useful. We need to put dot sum. Okay, if you put dot sum, it will clearly show that bedrooms has 1 null value. Next, we need to fill this thing rather than dropping it, because we just got only 12 rows. I don't want to drop this row overall, so it's better to fill with some information. So I'm trying to use a median. So we created a variable called median bedroom, and it's a bedroom median, and if you check on here, the median is 4, means we are going to fill this column, this missing value, with 4. So this is how you can fill it with the fill NA, and we got this data which is clearly, and if I run this is null, there's no null values. And we need to divide this data into independent and dependent variables, like x and y. Y is a label which is a dependent on these 3 factors. So if you check on here, I'm not creating any correlation and all sorts. It's just a basic, a dummy version, dummy data. So it's like a basic structure you need to understand whenever you are working on any ML project. So if you check on here, once again we have divided that one and then created a regular regression model, linear regression, And we have, if you see here, we have already imported this regression. So these are the three libraries which we are going to use it. And there's one more which we are going to use it. I'll show you later. I forgot to show you. Okay. Now we fit the model, and then by fitting you are training the model, and you can predict it. And if you see, by predicting with 3200 square feet with 4 bedrooms and 18 years age, and it's a matrix, you need to put double boxes. Okay, it's a matrix format. So, and you can get this value. It's costing around 60,000. Once again, there are a couple of changes which I did, so it may come out with a different value for you guys. And regression model, I'm predicting one more. And score, it's a 95.9 or else 95.5%, which is a very good score. So means around 95%, over 95% time it's giving the nearly the correct prediction. That's good. And then the last library which we are going to import is pickle, which I said we missed it here. I should have put it here, but that's fine, we can do it. You can always go through it. And I'm saving this pickle file as lr multimodal.pkl and as a binary, and pickle dump with this regular linear model, regression model, and this file, because this is a file. And then if you want to test whether the pickle file is working, you need to load it. So if you see it, I see here, I loaded it in model, and then I used for prediction, and it gives a right value. If you see here, the same value. So right now we are going to use this LR multi-model pickle file in our project. So this is the end of using Google Colab. We'll be using Visual Studio Code for our project. Okay, so this is a basic introduction of a dummy project on Google Colab. And once again, as I said, that I will share you the whole data and this Google Colab folder, as well as with this pickle file. But once again, if you want to do your own project, you can continue doing it. But for our work job to create a web application using Flask to present our machine learning model, we need this pickle file. Okay, that's it. So let's jump into Visual Code. So in a folder, I'll just create an application. This is like a Flask application. So we can say Flask _ ML app. I'll put 01 because this is the first application which we are doing. Once again, Flask is very powerful when it comes to creating our web applications for our machine learning models. And yeah, it's not a full stack developing tool, but it's one of the most powerful tools available. So we can, for our project, it really works amazing. So let's get on here. So here, double click here, and we need to create our virtual N. So I'll put pi space m venv. I call this my virtual N as venv. So we got our virtual N. So we'll wait till it is there. Yep, now it's created virtual N. So now this is the place where all our project work will go on. So what I'll do is I'll open a Visual Code. Okay, so I'll launch not a visual recorder, Visual Studio Code, and I'll open a folder which is this is what we have, which is Flask ML app. Select this. What? Why it didn't went? ML app. Now we got this application. Now step one is, so what I'll do, I'll just change this to my other screen so that it doesn't disturb us. Now first step is we'll create a app file. We'll call this .py, app.py. You can call whatever you want, but generally it's a normal format style which we use, so better go with the regular flow. and click on new terminal, and let's pip install Flask. For the time being, we just need Flask for most of our work. So it's installed. It's asking for me to upgrade my paper and all that. That's leave it. I'm not bothered about that one right now. So right now, I got my Flask installed. It's installed on virtual. See that your virtual is activated. Don't install somewhere else. It's better to stay installing. Now here, step one, we need to get Flask. So from Flask, import Flask. So I don't need all those things. It's from Flask, import Flask. Okay. There is a skeleton. You can always download it from, just go for a starter application for Flask. You can get it. But generally, I encourage you to write the code. So it's better to write app. This is an application and it's called Flask, and we use it under name. What are dunders and all sorts of, we can learn through when we go through like a mid-level, intermediate level of Python and advanced level. Then we can learn more about the dunders. So right now this is style you'll use, and then we'll use one more advanced feature of Flask, which is a decorator. So we'll call it as app.route, add this symbol, and in quotes I'll just put // So what happens is that it's like a root page, web page. You'll see this information, and then I'll call it as define, and I'll call this as home, this definition. So whatever is there, it will go, you can see on this location. Okay, so here we'll return, and then in return what I will do is that I'll just put hello Flask for ML users. Okay, now here I call this definition called home, and the decorator I use is app.route, and this is the location where you'll see this information. And the next thing what you do is that we need to call if name equals double quotes main. This is a basic template which we used previously also. I'm not going to explain about all those things, but try to use this one and run. Okay, you need to put debug dot equals true later. I'll show you why we should use it, why not. I just want to show you, but this is what we should do it first, and then let's run it. So first save it, and then right click and run. See that your virtual is active, and run it. So when you run it, it will show you this location, and if you see debug mode is off because we didn't turn on here. Now you can see this is local host, it's 127.0. all those things. So click on here, control click. So right now, okay, I got this one, so I need to close my other visual code, and if I save it and rerun it, you should see hello Flask for ML users. So that is what we have written. So let's take, if I change this to hello Flask users and save it and come back here and refresh it, nothing will happen because our debug mode is off. So if I turn this as debug true, we need to turn this off and rerun the server. So I'll just come here and control C. We stop this server. Control C is first to stopping the server, and with debug true, I need to save all. Rerun this application, and now if I click on here, you should see your Flask users. So that's one. But let's take, if I come back here, hello, I'll put linear regression. Okay. Hello to linear regression away and save it, because the debug is true. If I come back here and refresh it, we'll see hello to linear regression project. Is it clear, guys? Now you understood why we should use debug true. When we are working on production, we'll use debug true, but when we deploy it, we will not use debug true. We'll turn it off. We'll make it. We'll leave it to the default, which is false. But right now we are not going into that area. The main focus today is how to create a web app using Flask for our machine learning model. Okay, so but right now if you see here, our app, our webs, this is the local host, so that's fine, but we can always update it when we have our own domain and all sorts of stuff. But right now, if you see, this doesn't look good. So to make it look good and all sorts of stuff, we'll be using HTML. So to create an HTML, we need to create a folder called templates. So in Flask MP, not AP, so just click on this Flask, the root, create a folder and call it as templates, right? And with templates selected, you can create one more by index HTML file. I'll call this as index. You can call whatever you want. Index HTML file. Now I got my HTML file. What I will do is that I'll just click exclamation mark, shift exclamation mark, and enter. Sorry, not shift exclamation, it's exclamation mark. Okay, and now you got this a default HTML code, and the title, what I can do is that I can put Flask for ML, and here I'll use h1 tag, and I'll put Flask welcomes you. I don't know why I call this all those things, but just because our server is still running, I didn't stop it, and because the debug mode is on, you can just save it. Okay, and then in app, if I run, still it won't work, because let's take I saved everything, and if I come back here and run it, nothing will happen, because our Python app file is not recognizing this index file. To recognize it, we need to import one more library called render template in Flask. It's called render template, and rather than returning hello, I'll just remove this hello and I'll call it as render template, and the template name, we know that it's called index HTML. Guys, once again, this is once again an introduction, like a basic style, which is enough for us to create our project. We are not going in detail for URLs and all sorts of stuff, so it's enough for us to work on our project. So index HTML, so save it, and when I come back here and run it, now you can see Flask welcomes you. So now our project is able to recognize our index HTML file. Now in this project, we are not going to use any CSS. If we are using CSS, we create static file and all sorts of stuff should be done. But right now in our index file, our main focus will be we'll be using Bootstrap. So I'll come back to the website and I'll type Bootstrap. I'll use 4. 5 is also there, but somehow I'm a bit comfortable, because when 5 came, I'm still using 4. That's fine. So if you click on Bootstrap introduction, if you scroll down, you should see something called starter template. Just copy this template. Can you see? This is the biggest advantage of Bootstrap. It's amazing. Most of the work is done by Bootstrap. You just need to know how to use it. That's it. So come back here. I don't need all those things now. Done. I just paste it. This is the Bootstrap thing which we just copied from Bootstrap. Can you see here? We copied the starter template and we pasted here. Now I don't want to call it as hello world. I'll just call it as hello Flask. Okay, this will be the title, and here I'll call this as Flask app for linear regression. I'm just putting some values. Okay, and save it. Okay, now if I come back here, you could see if I refresh it, it's called hello Flask and Flask app for linear regression. You can see the difference in the font and everything because now it is recognizing our bootstrap file. Okay, done. Now the next thing is that we don't want our text and all things, and we need navigation bar and all things, and we'll try to create our own container and all things. So we'll come back here. In body, in start, I'll just create a div dot container. So what happens is that will create a division, and it has got a container. Okay. Now, if I save it and run it, you can see a change in this title. Okay, because it is going to certain sizes. That's the reason it's perfect. I'm happy with it right now. Now we'll try to add our nav mesh, nav bar to this one. So we need to add a nav bar here. So what I could do is that I can go back to this bootstrap, and in search, I'd search for nav bar. And here nav bar, I'm going to use the default one, which is the start one. You can use anything. So there are a lot of things are there. Okay. Okay. Okay, what we'll do is that we'll use the first one. Okay, copy this code. The best part, the best part of Bootstrap is that you get your code, you just copy it, and I'll paste it before this h1 tag. Okay, now I got my navbar. Now if I save it and rerun it, you can see a navbar. Okay guys, now here next thing is that because I prefer using a comment, so I'll put navbar. Okay, I wrote a navbar, and then with shift / control / you can comment it. I'll copy this one, I'll come back, last thing I'll put n. Okay, I need to put n here, you can't. Okay, and navbar. So if you see here, we got this navbar. I just put the comment so that I know that this is navbar thing, and if I can close it here. Okay, now here I don't need this link, drop down, disable, and this all those things. So yes, this is a branding, so we leave it, and then we need home, we need this one, but we don't need a link, we don't need the drop down, and we don't need this disable. Be careful guys, you need this UL on a ordered list. Okay, now if you see here, you will have only one nav link, which is called, can you see, I will remove. Okay, so remove it, save it, and refresh it. You can see only these two things. Now we don't need this search and the form, so we can always come back here. Can you see form? Delete this form. Also see that form start, form end. So better carefully select that one and delete it. Okay, that's it. Step 1 is done. I don't want to see navbar. So what I will do is that I'll just come back here. And if you check on here, you should see something called in a class. It's called navbar. So I can call whatever you want. I'll call it as RAM for students. And save it. Refresh it. Done. Next step, this Flask application for linear regression, or we can just say Flask application for ML. We'll put Flask application for ML. So we need to, I wanted to center it. So, and then also can you see it's very close to the navbar. So what I could do is that I'll come back here. Okay. Step 1, I said NAS application for ML, save it. But here in hashtag I'll just put class text center. Okay, save it. Can you see class text center? And if I run it, it's in center, but still it's very close to this number. So I can come back here. I can always put empty space 3. This is space. Can you see this is one class, this other class? So empty space 3. So if I run it and save it, you can see it's gone down. Pardon me. As I said, once again, I'm not using any CS, so I'm happy with it. So Flask application for ML. And what I will do is that I'll add one more. This time I will not add H2, I'll add H3 or H4 tag. And this time it is house prediction, house prediction project. And if I come back here and run it, you can see house prediction project. So I'm happy with this one. Now the next thing is that if you check on here in your project, you got 3 variables, 3 columns like area, bedrooms and age. This is the information we ask the user to input so that it can be used to predict. So we need 3 inputs. So I don't want to waste my time preparing inputs and all things. I just come back here and use something called form. In form, the first one, email and all things, this is very good. We'll use it and we'll edit it to as per our requirements. So copy this one. Right now here, paste it. Can you see I got a form? Now what I'll do is I'll just put form can you see I just put form like this, and I just put form here and save it, and if I run it you should see a form. But generally it should not be email. I don't want all these things. Okay, I just need the text, this information, because can you see it's email, it's always email, and password is, if I type anything it will be in password, which right now I don't need anything like this. So what I could do is that I can come back here. So first checkbox, can you see form check, remove that one, and the next division is a password, remove that one. And if I save it and rerun it, you should see this one. Now we will never share this email. This is a small information, so I'll remove that one. Refresh. Now let's start working on it. This is not an email. This is, let's take this as house area. Can you see house area? Now the next thing is in placeholder, enter house area. And in submit, I don't want submit, I want predict. Okay, we'll work on all the things because right now we got all this information, but we need to clean up something. So what I will do is that I'll just, this is not input example and all the things, so I'll just change this for name into house area. This will help you a lot. So type will change it, but ID should be house area, and email help also house area. But here after ID I'll put name equals also house area, because if you want to use it in if you want to know this information in our application, we need this name. Okay guys, that's important. In here when we get this data, we need that name. We can access this value with name. Now this is not an email, this is a text. So if I run it, you can see nothing changes, but our job is done. So I'll just copy this one. So we created 3 variables, and this house area, So what I'll do, I just click on here and with hold alt, I'll click everywhere where there's an area, because I don't want area. I'll change it to bedrooms. Okay, this one also house. Rather than house, I'll put bedrooms. Number of bedrooms. So if I read on it, you can see number of bedrooms. There is something gone wrong. Yep, because by mistake I deleted this symbol. Okay, now the next one is house. I'll click on once again area, 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 H. Okay, I forgot this one. H, house H. Can you see? Enter house, placeholders house H, and this should be all the things. So if I save this one, house H, this enter area. Where is this? So if you see here, we got all these things. Now our predict should be somewhere in the middle. I don't like this one. So what you could do is that you can always come here. This button, we'll put it in one division. Okay, we'll just put this button in a division, and then in division I'll create a class, and then I'll call this text center. Okay, you want to move it a little bit down, you can always come back here into after 10 center, save space. Okay, sometimes you need to put okay, I think that's fine. I don't know why it's not moving. It will move. I will refresh it and it will work. Okay, so we are happy with it till now. So if you see, we got this one. We can enter the values, and the next step is we need to get, one second guys, I'm just in application. We need to, whenever we click on this button, it should predict some information here, but before that we need to get these values into our application, then only we can do the prediction. So I'll come back here. So if you check on here in form here, just put okay action, and I'll put /predict because this is what I'm going to use, and then space method post. Okay guys, so what we are doing, okay, we are using a predict, means when we click on this one it will go to this page, predict or /predict, and then the method we are using post. We can use get or post, but generally for this projects, all these projects, post is well. Once again, when we work on Flash more in detail, I'll explain what is the advantage of post and what is the advantage of get and all sorts of stuff. Okay, so I can say 85% of this work is done here. So let's jump onto the app. Here, what we will do is that app.route, we call the route, and here if you remember we call it as predict. Can you see in here we set predict this action, so means it will take to this route. Okay, now under this route you can call anything, but generally I prefer to call the same name. You can call whatever you want. So predict, and what I will do is that I'll say if request, okay, if request dot method equals post. Okay, but can you see it's still not recognizing? I just need to, in Flask, I need to call request. That's it. So if it's request, then what happens? So if you see, we have called three variables. I already have it in my project, which can you see area, request form, that is what I call, can you see house area, name, house bedrooms. So here it's house bed, it won't work, so I need to copy this. Can you see house bedrooms, and age is request. So request form. So when you use post, you can access this information from form information using this way, right? Now what I'll do, I'll just convert this information, because this is string information. This is string information. I'll convert that into float. Can you see float area? If you remember, when you're predicting, this is how we are sending the information. So what we are doing here in Visual Code, we are just inputting that and converting that into matrix format and converting them into what I can say, into floats also. Now what I can do, I could just print user data. Now whenever you are working with routes and all things, you should return render template. And here what I'm doing is that I'm coming out of if loop and rendering it. Okay, I'm not putting render template inside the if condition. I just came out of the if condition and did it, and then save all. So if I come back here, rerun it. Okay, now here let's take, I put some values, 5 bedroom and it's 10 years, and if I click on predict, a method not allowed and all things is comes because we didn't created any method and all things. So let's take, we got some error here because it's not working, because in route, not just predict, we need to come here and comma, we need to put methods equals, we need to call both the methods. It's better to call both the methods because we may get is by default is there, but because we are using post, so in route we should say methods post and get. Now if I save it, okay, there is a, sometimes we get this type of crypts and all things, so I just deleted it. Save all. It's already stopped, so I'll just rerun the application. So if you see here, if I type some values, let's take here and predict, nothing will happen because we didn't do anything. But if you see here, because we are printing the data is here. Is it clear, guys? It's outright straightforward. We know that now our app Y is able to access this data. Is it clear, guys? But we don't want this one. We want to predict. To predict, first important thing is that we need to get our, if you see here in pickles, we saved our model called LR multi-model PKL. So right click, okay, and download it. Can you see? So once you download it, we need to put this more cut. So I'll come back to the ML project, MLF, and then paste it here. That's it. Now we don't need this one. You can just close it. Now if I come back here, you should see your model here. So let's access this model and start doing predictions. So come here. First we need to import pickle, because that's how we can get our read our file, pickle file. And then once it is done, I'll call it as reg model, because it's a regression model. And then pickle dot load, in brackets we put open, and here we know that our model is called LR underscore multi model dot pickle. Okay, and then you come out and it should be in read binary file. So we are reading this pickle file. Once we read the pickle file, okay, here rather than okay, we'll come back here. We can use something called prediction. Okay, we created a variable called prediction, and with reg model dot predict. Okay, with reg model dot predict, we can predict with the user data. And rather than printing a user data, we want to print predictions. Okay, can you see? We are with this data, we are using predictions, and with this model we are predicting. Now save all, come back here. We should get some error. So we got some error called RD, okay, read binary. Okay, save it. Let's run it. But once again, if you see, it's saying that no module name sklearn is used. Okay, this once again, this is the problem with Visual Code. So sklearn. So we need to install pip install sklearn. Sklearn is all the modules which we use for linear regression. So we need to install it here. It will take a couple of seconds to install sklearn. We don't need to call anything else. That's just, it's saying that the module is not found, so we install it. We are not using anywhere, but indirectly we are using it because our regular model is from linear model. So it's done. So if I right click and run it now, it will run the application. So if I click on here, so let's give something and predict. It's not showing anything here, but can you see it has printed a value called 69,000 something else. Is it clear, guys? Now we need to get this information onto our website. Okay, how to do it? So let's jump on here. So previously from index using actions and post methods, we got this information here in this application .app. But from here now we need to send these predictions to our index file. So how to do it? We can easily do it here. Can you see here? Comma, I'll put some pred equals prediction. You can call whatever you want, but I prefer to call pred because I can use it pred in index because it's nearly the same thing, so that I can easily recognize. So pred equals prediction. So this value is this one, and pred is what I'll be accessing here. Got it, guys? So next thing what I will do is that I'll come back here. Before I jump onto the final quick tweaking, I'll just move this enter here. So this will move into the if, but whereas I'll come back here and put else. I'll copy the same thing. Means save it. I'll use it, this method, in my index. That's the only thing. I'll show you right now in our form predict. We are using this one. We are getting this information in index. So I'll show you how to use it. So here when if there is no prediction is there, if I click on home button or something else, if you see here, it should work properly. Sometimes because I already saved it, I think it's working fine all things. So what I'll do is that I just go to this index page and href, I'll just remove these things and leave it empty. This is for home page, and let's take, if I come on to this reference here also, I'll remove this one. Okay, now comes, see, end of home. This is where I'm going to use a card. So you can go to Bootstrap and we can use card. Okay, you can use any of these ones. Okay, but I already wrote a code, so what I'll do, I'll just copy the code and show it to you guys so that you can use it. Now first step is I created a div called nothing and class empty-5 because I'm giving a margin of 5, and this format, if you see, flower bracket, percentile flower bracket, there is no spacing, you can't give any spacing. This is a formatting style, it's a Jinja formatting, you can't do anything, you have to use it like this only. So what I did was that in this div I'm saying that if pred means if there's a prediction, do this one, or else it will go to the default, nothing there. Okay, now if pred and if, you need to put and if you don't put and if also it won't work. Now what I did was that div class call the flex justified content center, because if I use this way, I'll just save it first so that you can understand. Can you see it's in the center? Predict, can you see? Got it? So that's the reason we have done justify center, and then I'm using a border success because I'm not going to go for like a primary colors. I'm just putting a border success and with the maximum width of 18 rem, all things. You can play with all those things. And header should be transparent, because if you see here, prediction, this is a header. Okay, I just put like a header, and this is a body, and this is a footer. So car title is spread, right? Now you can put if condition here, but right now I'm just leaving as it is. The final predictions are based on the user inputs, that's what I just said, and then all those things. If you see here, div class is like this. Okay, got it guys? If you want, you can put, always put text center. Can you see? And house. Can I see? That's what you can do. And the same thing I can do it here also. Now this is a basic, very simple card. We use it. You can work on it. You can understand. It's a footer and all the things. That's what I did. It's a simple card. You can find it on Bootstrap easily. That's it. But there is one small thing which I really don't like, because this is in box brackets. That's one thing, and it has got so many values. So what you could do is that you can just round it up. So how to round it up? Once again, you can come back to Visual Code, go to application, because this is where we did these predictions. So this is a very simple thing. I already wrote it. So you can put predictions, prediction only, round, because it's in a list. That's why I'm going for the 0th, because it's the first one is 0th element, and I want only 2 positions. If you want integer, you can just put int, but right now I'm going for 2 positions, 2 values. Let's take as if it plays a big role in our pens will play a big role. Okay, so if I put here 5,000, 10, oh, 10 bedrooms. I said 6 bedrooms and the age is 6 years. Can you see? 907,626, 36 pence. That's what you get. Okay, so if you see here, this is what we did. And if you want to put this as H4 class or H3, you want a little bit bigger price, so save it. You can always work on it how you want to make it look. Can see, it's up to you. You can make it as an integer and all the things, but that's fine. So if I click on home, because we used if else, it goes to the, once again, if you see, it's all value predict is there, but we can always work on it to make it to go to the root and all that. But right now I'm just leaving as it is, because right now the purpose is of creating a basic application. Okay, good, it's working. That's good. So what I'll do, I'll make this app whole this project folder available for you guys. Okay, this model, as well as I'll also give you the access to the Google Collaboratory and the drive. If you got any questions, any queries, get back to me. We'll work on it. Take care. Bye.